Dear viewers, don't forget to like this video and subscribe this channel. Enjoy your listening.
Let me take you back to one of the most painful yet transformative chapters of my life. My name is John, and for a long time, I thought I had my life figured out. That all changed when I learned the hard way that even the people you trust the most can let you down in unimaginable ways. Grab a coffee or settle in, because this is one story that still feels surreal to me. It all started about 6 years ago when I met Sarah. At the time, I was at my absolute lowest. My father had just passed away, the man who was my rock, my hero, my everything. His death left a gaping hole in my heart, and I honestly didn't know how to move forward. Then came Sarah. She walked into my life like a ray of sunshine cutting through a stormy sky. She was kind, funny, and had this way of making me feel like I wasn't completely broken. She held me together when I felt like falling apart. She didn't just listen to my grief, she shared it, carried it with me. Over the next 5 years, she became my anchor. We weren't just dating, we were building a life together. We talked about marriage, about kids, about growing old together. She was my future, or so I thought. Fast forward to about a year ago. I was finally in a good place. I had a stable job, some savings, and for the first time since my dad's passing, I felt happy. Sarah and I started seriously planning our future. I bought a ring and was ready to propose. But just when everything seemed perfect, Sarah dropped a bombshell. "John, we need to talk," she said one evening, her voice shaky. Those words still haunt me. She went on to confess that she had been seeing someone else. Not just anyone, a wealthy guy she met at some networking event. Apparently, he had been showering her with gifts, taking her to fancy restaurants, promising her the kind of lifestyle I couldn't give her. And just like that, she told me she was leaving me for him. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. The woman I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with was walking out the door. Not because I had done something wrong, but because I couldn't compete with someone's bank account. The betrayal cut deep. I begged her to stay, to rethink her decision, but her mind was made up. She packed her bags and left without so much as a second glance. The weeks that followed were a blur of pain and anger. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I'd look at the empty side of the bed and feel this crushing weight of loneliness. How could she do this to me? To us? It took everything I had to not spiral into complete despair. Slowly, though, I started to rebuild. I got a job offer in another city and decided to take it. A fresh start was exactly what I needed. New city, new friends, new life. Over time, I began to heal. The pain didn't disappear overnight, but it dulled. I even started to feel happy again, something I never thought would be possible. Sarah became a distant memory, a painful chapter I was determined to leave behind. And then, out of nowhere, she came back. It was a rainy Saturday evening, and I was lounging on my couch watching TV. There was a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I assumed it was a neighbor or maybe a delivery mistake. When I opened the door, my heart nearly stopped. There she was, Sarah. She looked different, worn down, like life had chewed her up and spit her out. In her arms was a baby, no older than a few months. I stood there frozen as a flood of emotions hit me. Anger, confusion, sadness. "John, can I come in?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know what to say, but eventually I stepped aside. She sat down on my couch, cradling the baby, while I sat across from her, arms crossed, waiting for an explanation. "I made a mistake," she began. "A huge mistake." She went on to tell me how the rich guy she left me for turned out to be a total fraud. Sure, he had money, but he also had zero intention of committing to her. When she got pregnant, he made all these promises about taking care of her and the baby. But as soon as she started showing, he ghosted her. She tried to take him to court, but his wealth and connections meant he came out unscathed. She was left with nothing. No money, no support, just a baby and a whole lot of regret. "John, I'm so sorry for what I did to you. I was selfish and stupid, and I've paid the price, but I need your help. Please let me stay. For the baby's sake." Her words hung in the air like a thick fog. Part of me wanted to laugh at the irony. She had left me for a better life, and now she was crawling back, begging for help. But another part of me felt that old familiar ache, the love I once had for her, the memories of the life we had planned together. But then I remembered the nights I spent crying myself to sleep, the humiliation of being abandoned, the months of rebuilding my life from scratch. And I realized I couldn't go back to that dark place. I couldn't let her waltz back into my life and undo all the progress I had made. "I'm sorry, Sarah," I said, my voice firm, "but I can't help you. Not after everything that happened." She broke down, sobbing, pleading with me to reconsider. But I stood my ground. I had to. Letting her back into my life would only reopen old wounds. I wished her and the baby well, but I told her she needed to find another way forward. After she left, I felt a mix of emotions: guilt, relief, sadness. But deep down, I knew I had made the right choice. Sarah had made her bed, and now she had to lie in it. As for me, I finally felt free. Free from the pain, the betrayal, the what-ifs. Today, I'm doing well. I've built a life I'm proud of, surrounded by people who genuinely care about me. And while Sarah's return stirred up old memories, it also reminded me of how far I've come. Sometimes, the hardest thing to do is to say no. But in doing so, I reclaimed my happiness. So that's my story. Life has a funny way of teaching you lessons, doesn't it? Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening this story. Share your opinion in comments below. See you in next video.